A man intentionally knocks over a burning trash can just to attract the attention of someone in the building across from him before the killer finds him. Seeing that the person has noticed him, Jack frantically signals for them to call the police. However, at that moment, the killer also catches the scent of burning in the air. He instantly understands Jack's intention. So, the killer immediately grabs a fire extinguisher and rushes toward the room where Jack is. Hearing the footsteps, Jack realizes the danger and quickly tries to escape, but ends up colliding head-on with the approaching killer. Yet, the killer ignores him, charging straight into the room to swiftly put out the fire inside. Then, he signals to the person in the opposite building that the danger has been resolved, and picks up the phone, pretending to have already called the police. Seeing this, the person across the street no longer calls for help. Just like that, Jack's rescue plan fails. Meanwhile, Jack hides in the server room and upgrades his access card privileges. But just as he's about to finish, the killer has already tracked him down. Fortunately, Jack reacts quickly and hides under a desk the moment the killer opens the door, narrowly escaping disaster. Afterward, Jack quietly slips into the office area and turns off all the lights. Then, using his upgraded access card, he passes through all the doors unimpeded, circling around the killer from the other side and heading straight to the boss's office. But as soon as he finishes explaining everything, the sound of the door being tampered with echoes through the room. Reacting swiftly, Jack hides behind the door. The next second, the killer kicks the door open, shooting the lock and barging in. Without hesitation, he shoots the woman in the office, killing her instantly. Then, he points the gun at the boss, demanding to know if he's seen Jack. Seizing the opportunity, Jack sneaks out unnoticed, expecting the boss to be shot next. Jack is surprised when the killer spares him, only warning him not to leave the office. Then, the killer leaves, but as soon as the killer is gone, Jack returns to the office. Looking at the dead woman, he realizes she was actually his client, a key witness in a major lawsuit. It seems the killer was here to silence her, but Jack doesn't understand why the killer hasn't left yet, since his mission is accomplished. At that moment, the boss thinks maybe the killer has already gone, when suddenly, the sound of shattering glass comes from outside. Clearly, the killer hasn't left. So, the two quietly open the door and peer in the direction of the noise, only to see the killer smashing the door of the archives room. It seems there's something inside he wants. Afraid of being discovered, they retreat back into the office. But then, the phone in the office suddenly starts ringing.